been the CEO or the Chief Business Officer at Eureka and CEO of South Asia for the last little over 2 years. A little bit of hard work to that, even workplaces. I think that's when it started dawning on me that I can actually aspire for bigger things, but I need to work for that.
Did you thought that you would be CEO one day?
Let me not just count the dollars, but let me understand how sales work. So I started understanding the core of everything that a company does. And it's very tiring in that you're just digesting so much of information. You're trying to grow your career at the same time.
So we'll start this show, right? There's nothing, no planned thing, nothing. I thought nothing about it, right? So I would just like to tell people that how I came to know about you. Obviously, you came to VIT. There was this keynote session of eCell, right? Initially, there were no plans of this, right? I was clueless. I just came to the event. I am the senior core member there of marketing. So I came there, and when we were hearing you, I got to know that, okay, you have some perspectives which are really different or which are really raw. Because when I listen to podcasts, I am a podcast fan, right? I listen to 3 hours of podcast at a stretch. There are many stories which are around $1 billion company or $1 million company, Zepto, Dunzo, everything. But the reality is somewhere different, I think. Right? There's also a part of it which is not shown. When you talked about it in this session, right? So I wanted that, okay, I want to have you on the show and let's talk about things which are not seen by the people or which things which are blinding the people or giving them a misconception about it. So that's about it. I would like you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, thank you again for the opportunity. It's an absolute pleasure. It continues to be my favorite community of people that talk to students. I feel that every time I speak to a new batch or a new university, that my belief in the country to grow is very much improvised. And one of the reasons why I came back to India from the US was because I wanted to live here, and I felt that India was going to be a place for growth. So I'm born and brought up in Chennai, a Chennai boy. I did my schooling and my college at Loyola College in Chennai. I played state, university, state, and national level tennis when I was younger. And then I went to the US to pursue my MBA. I also did a CBA, as they call it, the equivalent of the CA. I worked there for about 10 years and then returned back because I always wanted to live here. I felt that the life here was something that I enjoyed more. Even though I loved going back to the US and staying there and staying with my friends and traveling. I've been a CFO for many years, including Texas Instruments here in Bangalore, Scientific Games, which is now taken on a couple of other forms through acquisitions. When I became the CEO about 6 years ago with a company called Mobme, which taught me many of my startup lessons and many lessons of life as well. It was a technology conglomerate. It was actually the first student startup of India, started from Toronto. And these 6 entrepreneurs are crazy. They had incredible ideas, and I've not seen that kind of energy and brilliance in many people. So I had the opportunity to lead that group, and we ended up doing some wonderful things there, including selling parts of the company, creating value to shareholders, selling to multiple other large MNCs. And then I had the opportunity to lead Experian in India, which is the world's largest credit bureau. Worldwide, Experian is about, I think, 5 times the size of Sydney. And the opportunity to Experian in India. I've been the CEO or the Chief Business Officer at Eureka and CEO of South Asia for the last little over 2 years. And probably have seen on my LinkedIn that I'm now a startup founder. I've just started my own yoga academy, something that I'm very passionate about. So that's been my own personal journey as well. And then I also teach at the Indian School of Business. I'm on the board of analytical finance. And yes, speak to universities as they come through, and what good opportunity at VIT to be able to meet you and a bunch of other very exciting folks. So thank you. It was a pleasure to meet and also meet again. And
Yeah. So when you started this journey, right, when you went to the US, what were your thoughts about that? Okay, did you thought that you would be CEO one day? What was the idea of your mind?
I think most people talk about you have to have a vision when you're 18, vision when you're 20 and 30. Normally, most people don't, and it's not wrong. I'm here to tell everyone that not having a grand vision is fine. It will come to you. It will manifest in you, but you need to remain curious and a little hardworking throughout your life. I was I was slightly better than average student, but I never worked hard in school and at college, much to the disappointment of my parents, who wanted me to get into IITs, and my dad wanted me to become a scientist because I did very well in school. And I had no such idea. I wanted to take the specific group that had the least amount of work, and I felt that it was the commerce, the business side of things. I did my bachelor's of commerce, but again, I was playing serious tennis at that time, so I did really spend a lot of time studying. And through the MBA, it was the same. I did what was required to get through, and I would not get a C or a B, but I would not also get an A, even though I always felt that I could. I just felt that getting a B plus, or what they call the 75 to 85, was fine. And that was my mindset for a long time. I think for me, what changed was, I think I went through about 4 years of work experience. And your first few years, you're really trying to understand. You don't know what office politics is. You don't know any of that. Or at least I did. So I used to go to work and I used to come back home. I used to look forward to the weekends and, lived a regular life. I think for me, what changed is, and what has continued to be the defining point, which I recognized very little later, was that somebody saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. So I had a boss at the last company that I worked in the US, was called Enwood. And I was a financial analyst, or a senior financial analyst. And he said, I think you can become a CFO one day. Why don't you put in the effort to learn more and work more? And I said, okay, fine. And then he said it again. And when he said it for, I think, the third time, I said, okay, why do you see that? What do you think? No, I think you have the capacity. You're able to grasp certain things if you add, a little bit of hard work to that, you can go places. I think that's when it started dawning on me that I can actually aspire for bigger things, but I need to work for that. That, I think, was the beginning of my journey. I'm still in touch with him. He's, I think, 84. He's from American, he lives in the US. So I still call him. He's still my mentor in many ways. But I think somebody saw that in me, and then I really started. Yeah.
What was this age?
This was, I think, 28. So it's pretty late for most people, right, to get that. So at 28, I was fine. It's not like I was not working hard or something, but I was not, excelling or cream of the crop or Gartner top right, top forward, all of that. No, I was doing what was required. But I think by 30, it had set in that, okay, I think I can do better. And that's when the flip side of that is you start looking at others and saying, okay, I'm going to do better than all of these people. So you need to let go of that. You need to focus in the self as opposed to comparing. But that changed for me. And then by 31, I was back in India because I was always clear about wanting to be back. To his disappointment, mentor was very upset. He said, you could become the CFO of a big multinational corporation in the US. I said, no, I'll do this in India. And by the time I came to India, I was pretty given. I had CFO roles waiting for me. And by the time the TI, Texas Instruments role came on, I was very focused with what do I need to do? How do I schedule my day? What do I read? How do I update myself? What are the latest financial events that are happening? How do I understand business? And then as I talked to him more, he said, you cannot just be a finance person. You've got to expand it. So how does operations work? How do companies run? What is sales? How does revenue contribute? Because let me not just count the dollars, but let me understand how sales work. So I started understanding the core of everything that a company does. And it's very tiring in that you're just digesting so much of information. You're trying to grow your career at the same time. But it was so exciting that I never felt like, okay, I'm doing this because I have to do it. It was something that just kept pushing me more and more. And I think from that point on, I didn't need to be told. So I knew what was going on. And by the time I made the CFO India at Texas Instruments, he put another little, I would say, carrot in front of me. He said, you should start thinking about becoming a CEO. So I'm like, I actually asked him, dude, what are you doing to me? So I've just kind of done all of this. He said, no, it's not urgent. Just think about it. So I was lucky enough that I had this. And if you notice the deck that I did at VIT, I always have one foil on mentorship. And I think that's huge. Mentors are life-altering, but the work is done by the mentee. So most mentees, or I've had mentees where they're expecting me to give them things to do and study, schedule time. It's like they are going to, it's the other way around. And I had a few mentors on the yoga side of things. They actually will tell me at some point, that's enough questions for this week. Because I have just so many questions. And once the journey of learning starts, it's very difficult to turn that switch off. But for me, that curiosity and that all that started with those conversations. And I would say I was fortunate enough to continue that trying to work hard, push yourself. So now today, you see the books lying around. It's about how many different things can I grasp. I don't need to understand all of them. But what am I missing? Are there things that I don't know about? Right now, in our yoga academy, we're trying to use generative AI to create videos for different audiences. So it's a mix of entire tradition, which is yoga, and then bringing in Gen AI into doing something. So it's how to make sure that you are always curious. And if you're that curious, you'll never be bored, you'll never be lazy. Something is driving you always. And podcasts are a great way. So I listen to a wide variety of them. I try to listen to a few on science, because I'm very interested in evolution, because it relates to a lot of what yoga teaches. And so I try to draw the parallels and the differences. Then there's this few concepts, you listen to things on completely different side, liberal versus conservative, masculinity, feminism. And then you can also go the other way, where you can listen to fintech, robotics. And so we are in this age where I think we should be very grateful with the amount of information that's just available to us. And almost all of it is absolutely free. So I think that is the one aspect that I would say stuck on for me was the aspect of, okay, now that I've done this, okay, this gives me a sense of satisfaction. But what do I want to do next? And I was also guided very early on that the money is the byproduct of this. Most people want to do it for the money, or many. I don't want to say most, and it's not wrong. But if your learning is first and money is a byproduct, if you look at it that way, I feel that you also end up enjoying things a little bit, because I've had money goals and I've hit them. And almost, I would say, 2 weeks later, that doesn't look that exciting anymore. That car doesn't, it's not like I don't like the car, but that, oh my God, I wanted this car or this particular watch or this particular house. They don't tend to be as exciting. But that, for me, sometimes that knowledge of, oh, I've learned this, which opens up the world to so many other things that I don't know, that kind of gets me in a TV because I get excited. And now got into this whole aspect of understanding our evolution as explained in yoga. And it's, this, I can spend 200 years and I will learn maybe 5%. There's just so much out. So I've jumped into an ocean, or I'd say something much bigger. Happy. Very long answer to your question. But for me, I think the spur was somebody was able to light that match. And I was fortunate enough to carry it. That's how it changed me. But I keep saying I was a very average performer with 3 out of 5 on all the reviews, 6 out of 10 on the performance reviews and at work. Okay, they would always say, okay, you're doing fine. You could do better. Never bothered. So it's okay to be average, but everybody has that innate nature to blow it out if they really choose to.